So Shobana, we've been carrying this series on the low-hanging fruit in terms of what are the 5 or 6 things that Modi can do immediately, and we all know that Modi doesn't believe that governance is a 10-day or a 100-day function. But what are sort of the top 3 or 4 things for you?
So I think immediately he could raise gas prices. In fact, it's been notified the new gas price as per the Rangarajan committee formula. So if he does that, $8 to $10 billion worth of investments could come in right away.
And that's from RIL alone. They could be more from ONGC as well, right?
Yeah, and more important, it sends a signal to the foreign, companies overseas that the government will do something that it has promised to do. So there will be a stability to the price regime. I think that's very important. And the second thing is that the taxman has been harassing many of these multinational corporations, claiming that they've not withheld taxes on royalty or suppressed income and so on. So we need a stable tax regime. The BJP has said that it will try and curb.
Yeah, they said no tax terrorism.
Absolutely.
The word they use, I think. Right?
I think it's important to send the right signals to the MNC community immediately. So that they are reassured, they feel confident, and then after that, the investments are just waiting to happen.
What kind of numbers are we talking about for this tax terror or these cases? I mean, are they small change? Is it big? Is it what I mean?
No, the amounts involved in the transfer pricing adjustments alone in the last 4 years or 5 years would be about over 2 lakh crore, I would think. So, I mean, that's not small.
Yeah.
And, the money apart, individual companies, say Vodafone has to pay some 20,000 crore, and, for Nokia also, it's a very large amount. More than that, it's the, the reassurance that the companies want.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've made big investments here. They have big plans for India. If the case is valid, fine. But if you go about doing retrospective amendments to existing laws, how are they to make any sort of plan for the country?
I completely agree. In fact, I'd add one more thing to your list of the low-hanging fruit. If, for example, spectrum trading rules are liberalized, it basically means, in a nutshell, you allow MTN or BSNL or anybody to sell their spectrum. That brings about $7 billion more. Martin Peters was there at this Vodafone dinner last night, and they just announced their results. I think they've turned profitable for the first time after 7 years, right? And he was said that, if we get reasonable spectrum, we can invest, 5 to 10, not him per se, but the industry can look at $5 or $10 billion of investment coming in over the next couple of years.
Actually, foreign capital is very, very important because we have always been a capital scarce country. Now, if you look at it, while the current bull run will allow many companies to raise equity, what it will actually do is just help them restore some semblance of sanity to their balance sheets. So, it's highly doubtful whether they'll be able to raise enough additional equity to, fund further projects. Moreover, if you look at the banks, they are also starved for capital. So, there is
foreign capital is very important in that context.
Right now. Okay. Absolutely.
What are the what are the 3 things that you're looking at in the budget? I mean, let's say on the 1st of July, for the sake of argument, if you get a budget on the 1st of July, what are you looking at? There'll be the fiscal deficit number. We're not looking at that very strongly.
What I'm looking to see, I don't know it'll happen, is a lower gross borrowing number.
Okay.
You see, because the bond markets, it's the interest rates that need to come down. If the government is going to crowd out private sector borrowing, then how are interest rates going to come down?
And that gross borrowing number comes down if the deficit comes down.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can't splurge on subsidies. You can't be saying that, I'm going to subsidize diesel for the rest of my term, So obviously the gross borrowing number is very, very important.
Okay, so that's one. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, so I would look for subsidies to be not pruned but slashed if that is possible. So you don't subsidize diesel. Obviously there is a certain deregulation that's happening, but if it can be hastened, and then the LPG part of it, the kerosene part of it, so and something in fertilizer probably.
Clearly the retrospective tax, and that has to go.
Absolutely.
But one of the things, Shobana, that we've been discussing with a few tax experts, that even if you let's say you remove the retrospective tax, you will probably need to set up a committee to review these current cases, these 2 lakh crore cases, and figure out some ways to deal with them, right?
So you have a proper mechanism, some kind of dispute or resolution mechanism or whatever, and get it over with fast. I think the foreigners want quick decisions, they want stability, they want to move on. So I don't think it's that difficult. I mean, you can
And
set up a committee.
What you looking for in banks?
I mean, how much additional capital they will get. I mean,
They can't, are you looking at the budget, for example, saying that I am looking at let's say a roadmap for reducing public sector equity, government equity?
Yes, roadmap. Yes, I'm not looking for it immediately. I doubt there will be very radical policy stance shifts in July. I mean, first of all, I don't think they have the time, but that apart, I mean, some amount of thinking would have to go into it. So I'm not looking for anything very radical. I think, the RBI is working on certain things.
Okay, last question. But your FI15 numbers, would be about 5% or around that. I mean, basically, when are you looking at growth taking place in FI?
No,
certainly not in FI15,
no.
right? So it will be FI16 or 17.
Yeah, so FI16 could be 6.5. That will be the bigger jump. If we get 4.7 or 4.8 in FI14, if we close then you will get about 5.3 with a bit of luck. Oh, the monsoon.
And no El Nino.
Yeah, and monsoon. Yeah, absolutely. So you will get 5.3, 5.4 in FI15, which means you could get FI16, you could be looking at 6.5. That, even if there's 7 lakh crore worth of stall projects, even if half of them get going, that gives you a kicker of 100 bips over a period of time, because it comes with a lag.
Okay, so we are optimistic but cautiously so. Okay, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.